All right. So do you have tight muscles that no matter how much you stretch, you find that you just can't get that flexibility to increase in that muscle? Now, if that's you, what I want to show you today is something called PNF stretching, which is a technique for stretching where we can use your body's own mechanisms to help break through some of those barriers for flexibility. And we'll be able to test to see if it's going to be effective for you right away to see if you can actually gain flexibility using it. If that sounds good to you, then I'd welcome you to do this with me to see if it's going to be an effective tool in your goal of getting flexibility. So, if we haven't met, my name is Greg. I have a degree in exercise science and 10 years of experience working with clients to accomplish their health and fitness goals. So, welcome. Glad to see you guys here. So, PNF stretching. Now, that stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. And if that sounds like a big complicated thing, don't worry, it's actually a lot simpler than it sounds. What the proprioceptors are mechanisms and little pieces of your muscle, especially in the muscle and muscle tendon, that send signals to your brain and to your muscle to help know what's happening in the joints, what's happening in the tissues, and to protect your muscles. So what we're going to be doing with this is actually tricking one of those. The thing we're tricking is called the GTO. A lot of acronyms today, but bear with me. I'm going to be describing what we're doing with those, how to do that. Then I'll show you some examples at the end of actual stretches you can do, especially for your hamstrings or your chest. If you have another muscle though you want me to go over, let me know in the chat or in the comments. So how are we going to be tricking those proprioceptors using PNF stretching? So what those are actually in the muscle and muscle tendon. And what they do is they detect if there's tension in that muscle. And then they actually send a signal to the muscle to tell it to relax, to protect the muscle so it doesn't tear itself. So what we're going to do is stretch the muscle and then tense it and then stretch it again to help send those signals to the muscle to relax the muscle. And as it's relaxing, we're going to stretch it more. So sometimes when you have tension in that muscle, you can actually trick the muscle into letting go of that tension and getting more flexibility out of it by triggering that GTO, that Golgi tendon organ and so you're getting double the signal, some from your Golgi tendon organ and then also from your brain of you telling it what to do to get that extra relaxation into the muscle to get it more flexible so you can break through some of those barriers. So in any stretch we're doing with this, we're going to stretch and hold that stretch for, I would recommend 20 seconds, and then tense up the muscle for 5, and then stretch again and see the difference in how far we can stretch. So that's what the core of PNF stretching is the stretch, tense, stretch. So what we're going to start with is I'm going to show you a hamstring stretch. So we're going to do this on the ground. There's a couple ways of doing this. I'll show you 2 different ways of doing it. So we're going to start out laying on your back, and you need to have a wall or a post, something you can press against to tense up. So I'm doing it with this post. You could do it with a door frame or a wall as well. What you're going to do is start out by grabbing behind the knee and pulling up, trying to keep your legs straight. Now what I want you to do is remember how straight your leg got here, because we're going to be testing this again to see if you can go further. So the straighter your knee, the more of a stretch it's going to be. So you can see my knee's a little bit bent on this one. It'll probably be a little bit straighter next time. So I'm going to where I feel that stretch and holding for 20 seconds. And then from here, after I've held the first stretch, so this is the first stretch of the PNF stretching, and then what I'm going to do is put my heel against that wall. I'm going to push down into that wall. I'm trying to tense up back here, this muscle that I just stretched, tensing it up. So I'm actually trying to drive my heel down like this, but the wall will stop me from actually going anywhere. So I'm pushing down, holding for 5 seconds, pushing into that heel, trying to dig it into the wall. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then immediately I'm going into a stretch. So I should be able to get a little further. You should feel it. And this is where I'd recommend for you, test it out and see if you can get a little further each time. So if you can, that's a good sign that this is going to be an effective stretch for you. It doesn't have to be a lot further. It's not going to be a huge difference, but just a little bit more where you're gaining that flexibility range. And then you could do it another time, pushing down for 5. And then one more stretch. So I have a little bit of a shake on this one at the very top end, but I feel like I can actually straighten my knee more as I'm doing this. So I'm getting a little bit further than I would with that first set of stretching. So if you don't have a wall like that, I'm going to show you another option for the hamstrings. So you can take a towel, a belt, or what I have is a stretch strap, but a towel works just as well. What you're going to do is put it right around your foot and then hold onto the ends of it. So you're going to pull back into a stretch, stretching that hamstring. And I like the stretch strap because it has handles, so it makes it so you can really get a good grip on it. Because we're going to be pulling back, stretching it, and then after that stretch, you're going to push down, trying to hold it with your hand so it's not going anywhere. You're tensing up that hamstring. And then relax, pulling it back up. Should be able to go a little bit further. Now you can see if I start here, I'm going to try and see if I can get to a little bit further. And that's where we retest it between. So retesting between, see if you can get a little further each time. And that's how you'll incrementally break through those barriers for that flexibility. Only go to where you feel tension, but no pain though. So that's what I'd recommend if you don't have a wall. You can use a belt, a towel, and that works just as well. So that's one for the hamstring. Now what about for the upper body? So we're going to do one for the chest, and for that you're just going to need a post, or you could do this in a door frame, door jamb, anywhere where you have a wall where you can put your arm against. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to stretch this muscle, this pectoral muscle right here. So I'm going to turn out and away, turning this direction towards my opposite side till I feel a stretch across here. I'm going to hold that for 20 seconds. And then from here, I'm going to go the opposite way, but I'm not just turning my body and letting my arm relax. I'm trying to just push out this way with this arm. Okay, so I'm using this arm to pull my entire body. I should be able to push right here and feel the muscle contract underneath for 5 seconds and then relax and then open up that chest. You should be able to go a little bit further where this is a little more relaxed. You feel like you can get a little more open across that chest. And then one more time. Remember, we're always going from a tense to a stretch. So we're always ending with a stretch. So this is utilizing the body's mechanisms, those proprioceptors, to help your body relax and gain flexibility. Give it a try, see if it works for you. Sometimes it can break through those barriers on flexibility and get you further to accomplishing your goal. So if you like this sort of content and want to see more, I try and do these live streams at 2 o'clock on Wednesdays. That's 2 o'clock Pacific time. So love to see you guys here. If you have questions for me, go ahead and post them in the comments. Or if you have things you want to know how to stretch or do more effectively, then let me know. Or if you have suggestions or things that worked for you, I'd love to hear those too. So thank you guys for being here. Hope to see you guys next time. I'm just going to let this run just a little bit so it doesn't get cut off. Last time it cut off the end.